We're going to enjoy our next guest, who's waiting right there in the wings. That is activist and author Raquel Willis.
Yes.
She's on a mission to inspire and elevate marginalized people, especially transgender women of color. She is co-founder of the Transgender Week of Visibility and Action and was a featured speaker at the 2017 National Women's March in Washington, D.C. She writes about her experiences and more in her new memoir. It's called The Risk It Takes to Bloom, on life and liberation. And Raquel Willis joins us now. Raquel, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me back.
So the title is The Risk It Takes to Bloom, but you write in the book about having to bloom again and again and again. Explain to people what you mean by that.
Yes, well, I think for me as a Black trans woman coming from the South, someone who embarked on a journalism career and activism career, it's required a lot of moments where I've had to take the risk to shatter expectations and to allow myself to move through maybe difficult moments to emerge on the other side, hopefully more brilliant than ever before.
Yeah, brilliant is a word. You look fantastic, Raquel.
Thank you.
But you write as a little kid, you tried to pray the queerness away. You came out to your family as a gay boy at the time, and it did not go well when you first told certain members of the family.
Yeah, I mean, my dad had a bombastic reaction.
He broke a chair. Yeah.
He broke a chair. Yeah. There was a whole moment. But my parents were devout Catholics. Yes. So we were also dealing with religion, but we were also dealing with the expectations of Black masculinity in the South. And I think oftentimes there isn't enough space to understand the other, to understand that there's gender variance out there.
I know, and then talking about blooming, so you go from I'm a gay person, a gay man, gay boy, to no, I don't think that's what I am at all. I'm actually want to be a woman. Talk about that transformation, because you really had to evolve yourself, trying to think, what is happening to me? Who am I really?
Absolutely. Well, I first found community online. I mean, in the wilderness of the early 2000s internet, if you can believe it. But then at the University of Georgia as a journalism student, I found other LGBTQ plus folks for the first time. And that was an opportunity for me to connect with others, to share and compare notes from other people all over Georgia and the South. So it was community that was really a gateway for me to fully start to embrace myself. And my first relationship as well, my first romance.
Yes.
You say that you're constantly doing work, and that looks like loving each and every version of yourself. I love that, because nowadays people try to forget who they were. And they present this image, whether it's on social media or in real life. This is who I am now. But why is that important, to love each version of who you were and are?
Absolutely. Well, I think when I first came into my trans identity some 12 or so years ago, it was a time where trans folks were kind of expected to bury our histories. You know, this idea that we had to run away from our truths. And when I started as a journalist, I didn't know that I could have a career being open as queer or trans or anything. And so in my first job in small town Georgia, I was in the closet. I did not tell
anybody,
nary a soul, until the later part of my tenure there. And I really wanted to build a career where folks could be themselves fully.
Can I ask about being fully yourself and openness? Because there's this amazing Gallup poll from June of this year, so just recently, that asked people whether they believe it is morally acceptable or morally wrong to change one's gender. That's the language of the question. Most people said morally wrong to do what you do, to live as you're living. What do you do when you encounter that in the world?
Ooh.
Well, it's not so much changing. I feel like I'm becoming more and more of who I've always been, more of my essence. It's really just, again, a blooming and emerging of what was already there. I think this idea that people change genders is reductive, and it doesn't take into consideration all of the nuances of our lives. But I think also when I consider cisgender people, that is people who are not trans, I think that there's a lot of blooming that can happen on that side. So when it comes to being trans, I hope people take away from my story that they can also shatter their own expectations.
I was going to say, isn't it about changing people's expectations? That people need to understand that this is a reality, and this is a truth, and you might not understand it, but it is a reality.
It's loosening those boxes that are too small, really, for all of us.
We are all blooming.
We're all blooming. I think about the boys and the men who are told they can't cry, they can't like the color pink. I think about the girls and the women who are told they can't be strong, brilliant, capable leaders, can't play sports. That's all connected in how gender often fails us because we set these expectations on folks that don't fit.
And the more you talk, that's why people need to understand, because trans violence is a real issue and it's a real problem.
Yes.
And that's also something that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Raquel Willis, thank you very much for being here and for being yourself. The Risk It Takes to Bloom is on
blooming.
sale right now.